Hello, hello. This is My Holland, your podcast host for today for Mosaic Mind. And today we have another exciting story with 𝗂𝗋𝗋, and we're going to know more about her stories. So sometimes the most powerful connections we make in life are not written into contracts or captured in strategy documents. They happen quietly in the pauses between cultures, in the shared laughter between strangers, in the decision to keep showing up even when it's hard. Kim knows what it means to live between worlds. She spent years in the UK and China, building partnership and engaging alumni across borders and time zones. Her work is grounded in something that cannot be easily measured: trust. The kind of trust that earned through listening deeply, honoring difference, and believing that relationship, when nurtured, can ripple far beyond their starting point. Today, Kim serves as a UK Alumni Ambassador, but her influence travels far beyond titles. Whether she's working across sectors or walking through a forest trail on her weekend hikes, Kim is guided by a quiet sense of purpose: to connect, to bridge, to build, and also to write. In this conversation, we ask, what life experience has shaped her the most? What has her work taught her, not just professionally, but personally? And can she recall a moment when she had to trust herself, even when everything around she said otherwise? So this is a story of stillness in motion, of cultural fluency, emotional courage, and the often invisible labor of bringing peoples together. Welcome, Kim. How are you?
Hi, thank you, Miss. I'm very happy to join this podcast, and I'm very excited to be your guest today. I'm very
Tell me,
well.
in which country are you now?
For now, I'm in Saigon, my lovely city. I have been here since I was like 18 years old. I moved from the Hai Phong, my hometown, to the Saigon to study university here. I stayed here for over 10 years, and then I moved to UK to this master's, and then moved back, and then moved to China, and then moved back again. And now,
All right.
I'm in
So
Saigon.
I hear that you have been moving a lot in between suitcases and time zones and everything. So I really want just to start delving into your story, so then we can share with other people how it is, just to travel and live in another country, study and work, and all those exciting times, but sometimes also stressful. So let's have a few questions now about your identity and maybe your life journey, as what you have said before. So my first question would be, what life experience has shaped you the most, and how has it influenced who you are today? So you have done a lot. So you live in Vietnam, China, and UK, where you did your master's. So tell us more. What life experience have shaped you the most, now that we have time to reflect?
Thank you. Actually, when I mentioned Mother's question, so I could share about my time in the UK and China. So that's what really impacted my life. First time I moved to China, moved to UK after when I was 25 years old. I did master there, and it's my first time ever to live in one foreign country outside of Vietnam. Move out of your comfort zone. It changed me a lot in the way you need to adapt the new cultures, languages, and make the new connections there. I remember that all the time I have to work 3 part-time jobs at the same time to while studying there. But actually, that's really, really grateful I did it. And when I was 25 years old, I got my master's degree. It's quite a big achievement for me. And I met new friends, and even I have a good best friend, and we still connect until now. From that time, a lot of the difficulties challenging for me to be in the new country. And I learned that how to be flexible, adapt in the new environment. You can grow up from that.
When you're talking about adapting, being flexible, being out of your comfort zone, how is it, coming from Vietnam and doing your master's in the UK? What shocked you, or what surprised you, or, in both ways,
Yeah. For what surprised me, I think when I was in Vietnam. So, for example, when we went to school, we just okay, someone said to us, okay, you need to do this, that, and you don't really feel that you have to show your opinion. You always listen to someone else. Hey, you need to do this, do that.
Right.
But when I moved to UK, it's you need to learn to be independent in the way of you approach the problems, and even in study lesson as well. So it's absolutely a change. And I feel how I can adapt it. You was born and raised in Vietnam for a long time, until you're 18 years old, you have your mindset already. But now when you move to UK, you have to, I realized that, okay, you cannot use what you used to be in the new country, new cultures. So that's why you have to learn to change. First time learn from yourself, how to be adapt in that. That's quite important as well. Since then, every time when I move to new countries, it's just like, okay, I'm willing to learn new thing and take it like the opportunity for me to experience and grow it. So that's why I think it's so much different from Vietnam. When I moved to UK, you learn that you need to be very confident.
Right.
Someone said to you that, okay, if you don't try it, maybe you fail or maybe you succeed. But I think believe yourself is quite important. That's what I learned when I was in UK.
What about China? Because, it's very different from the British culture and you get used to it. Maybe you get used to the weather. It's raining today in Vietnam.
When you're in UK, it's absolutely different from China, I could say, because China is a Asian country, so it's quite close to Vietnam. But the thing is, because when I live in China, I still a foreigner. I'm not Chinese, so in terms of you get used to with the mindset and perspective, you still put to my Chinese friend, I'm still a foreigner to them. So that is not really bring me too close to the Asian culture. In their eyes, I'm still foreigner living in China. Even I can speak of a little Chinese, but to them, I still foreigner, and I still have a little gap with them because of different culture and custom. So that's why even the first time when I moved to China, I didn't speak any Chinese, but I met amazing Chinese colleagues from the company. They helped me a lot to settle in, and then from that, I just learned that, okay, in the new environment, you make the connections, adapt. Yeah, again, adapt. And you don't see that as a challenging, but you see that as an opportunity to learn and to adapt and flexible so that you can easy to enjoy the new environment and to be a part of the new country.
Well, so I really want to ask you, when did you really realize that building bridges between people from many cultures would become a central part of your life's work today? When did you realize that moment, building bridges is the way of doing, is in understanding people and understanding the world?
I think it's quite important when we talk to make the connection with the strangers. I could say it's the trust we build, the how we share ourselves, open ourselves to others. It's kind of authenticity, authentic. So that's why it could be make us more open to others. And when they see us, we share our stories and we open up ourselves so that easy to make the connect to others. And I think that's one we can apply for everywhere. Every time we move to a new country, we meet a new person, new friends. Communication, open yourself, even share your personal journey is a very key thing to make the connection longer. Because we just not come to say, hi, how are you doing? But we really understand who we are talking and what the behind. So I think that's very important to make a really meaningful connection.
Yeah, I like that, which links to my next question. So you're talking about connections and meaningful connections. You have a fantastic job now. So you're working with the British Council, as how do you call it, the regional ambassador for the alumni. So you're obviously connecting with people. So you engage in those alumni relationship and partnership. In that mindset, what does connection really mean to you on a deeper level?
When I first heard about this, the volunteer, different types of volunteer job from the British Council, when they looking for the alumni UK ambassador for the Southeast Asia, the reason I really want to be part of, because I used to study in the UK, I knew some challenging for the new people when they just moved to UK to study in UK. And now when I have a chance, opportunity, I just want to contribute and help others so they don't need to go through what I had to go through. Just, to help them maybe to get faster. So you don't need to have tackle any challenge. And if you know someone else, they knew to have experience on that. So it's easy to be in the new country. So that's why I really want to be in that position. And since then, so we work a lot of the activities, and we try to make all the alumni, the people used to study in UK, come back to the home country. They can find reconnection and building the new relationship, or maybe any opportunities in the future to collaborate together. So that is the what purpose of my roles. And at the same time, I want to support for the alumni UK community.
Oh, that's wonderful. So you're not only doing in Vietnam, but you're doing regionally, right?
Yes, for the regional level.
That is super interesting. So can you tell us more about, how it is to be an alumni in Vietnam when they come back here, and then an alumni from other country in Southeast Asia where you are covering, as part of your job? What's the difference? What do you notice as, cultural difference or communication difference?
Yeah.
What is it that you have noticed and shocked you, surprised you?
Actually, so I could say I'm 𝗑𝗵𝗱𝗍. How to say, itchy feet, love traveling, love living in another different countries when I have a chance or opportunities. But when I moved back to Vietnam, I feel like, to be honest, I feel quite challenging to adapt again. Even I am person to easy adapt to the new country. But when come back to my home country, I felt like a little gap that I need to be like us again. For example, I remember like when I was in Hangzhou, the city in China. So that is very nice city and quiet. So I really love to be in the nature, spend some time in nature, like maybe just hiking and walking around a park. But when I came back to Saigon, for example, the city is quite busy and too noisy. I took I think at least a few months to get used to it, the rhythm of the city. This is better now, but I think, as you know, that you live different countries, when you move back to Saigon, you maybe got this common things we will talk about the noisy, and if you want to be in nature, it's not easy to accept. So it's quite a small example of when I moved back to Vietnam.
And what about that you have to readapt from, you have a lot of nature where you were, and I remember you sent me some photos which look absolutely unbelievably beautiful. Apart from nature, what else in terms of difference between working in China versus working in Vietnam? What difference have you noticed?
I think it's different that if working in China, people are like, okay, I think like people open to you to talk to you, like maybe straightforward. For example, okay, if you have some problem, maybe just like team up to sort it out as a problem. And we don't just like gossip around, and we just like straightforward to the problem and to find solution together. Maybe in Vietnam it's quite different, because I used to work in Vietnam many years ago. Yeah, I think some companies are very good, like when we have as a good teammate to work together and to make sure that everything like on the way to sort it out. But some others are maybe just like, okay, we don't talk about the problems. Like we try to avoid the problem, and we just like, okay, I don't know what's the solution. Someone needs to find solution. Actualize them working together to find solution. And the other thing is communication. I think we misunderstood a lot in the way we talk. Maybe we didn't mean that, but if our communication not clear or simple or short, easy to understand, so maybe people just like thought, oh, hey, but you said to me like this, but actually maybe just another, not really. So I think that is quite important. And some people, maybe they just don't like to talk to you face to face. They thought maybe it's just affects them, lose the face, or just I don't like it, and then just gossip around and maybe talk to you behind the back. It's just, I think it's not really nice to be. I don't assume that it's happened in every companies in Vietnam, but just maybe some example I got experience in the past. But when I moved to another like China, because I worked for like kind of the international company, so we work with different teams like from US, Australia, New Zealand, and Vietnam. So we quite open on just like very clear communication, straight to point. So that's what I think is different.
And which one do you prefer? The direct communications or the indirect, which can be a bit more subtle?
Of course,
and you have to read.
Here, of course, I prefer direct communication, because it save us a lot of time to overthink. Sometimes we don't know that is upset someone, or we don't know, okay, what really is the problem. And if you just like very direct communication or straight to point, that easy, right? everyone happy at the same time. We don't need to, hey, a few years come back, hey, I still hate you because I didn't like you.
So that's interesting because, in Vietnam, we have that kind of indirect communications where it's very subtle and you have just to understand, the hidden messages as well and the hints. And then you're Vietnamese as well, and your Vietnamese is perfect because you're Vietnamese. So when you communicate with, Vietnamese people, and then you've been working in China and spent a lot of years in UK. So how do you navigate over perception that people have about you, So you prefer the direct communications, but at the same time, you're not a foreigner in Vietnam, you're Vietnamese. So then they expect you to be subtle, right?
Vietnamese,
So
yes.
how do you navigate all those cultural nuances and making sure that, people still like you?
Yeah, we know that everything is never as perfect. We cannot make everyone happy and at the same time. So yeah, I know that when you are Vietnamese and you bring the direct communication, is some price change, right? But I think it's based on case by case. But for me, I'm really honest at the beginning. You like me or you don't like me. It's very clear at the beginning. So to make sure that we don't have any like hate in between or later on. So I think it's open yourself. And I mentioned earlier that open yourself and tell people that what you really think. It's really a good point to start to make sure that we don't come up like fighting or just have something, okay, I'm not happy with you. So that's the way I do it.
You have traveled and worked in many countries, in a few countries lately. So what would be the most valuable lesson that you have learned from your work so far? So you were talking about communication. What was the most valuable?
I think the most valuable lesson for me from work, it's just like to be yourself, to be honest, to be open yourself to any. You don't need to make up. Hey, I'm good at this one. Even if not good, just admit that, and to be very clear, to set the boundaries, especially in work. If you think that you cannot do it, just say no. You don't need to say yes to please everyone. And it's very clear. Open yourself and be yourself as well. Adapt. I know that because when we work with different teams, different background, different cultures, so the adapt and open yourself is very important. The key things to build the relationship and to make yourself like easy at work as well. So that's I think the valuable lesson that I learned.
How do you navigate, when people are thinking like you're the foreigner or you're one of wherever you're from? So how do people perceive you and how do you address those perceptions? Because obviously you're a foreigner in China,
Yes, yeah.
but then you look Chinese, but then at the same time you are Vietnamese, and then you have your direct communication preference style in Vietnam. So how do you navigate those? I look whatever, but then I act whatever. How do you navigate those things? Because your husband is not Vietnamese. So how do you navigate all those culture insight on a daily basis? And what was your experience?
Yes, actually, it's quite funny. Whenever when I was with my husband, go to the restaurant, so the staff, they always thought I'm Chinese and they literally spoke Chinese to me. And at the end, I said, I'm sorry, I'm not Chinese. I don't understand really what you said. And was so laughing. I think it's just like, yes, I knew it's happened. But as you mentioned, because of course, I live in China and we are kind of similar, like the face and appearance. To me, I don't take it like personally because when we ever in the new country, it's just like, okay, because they see it like quite close to them. So I think I don't take it, I just thought like, okay, can happen and I accept that. But when we talk about some other topics, especially about the food, for example, of course, I always say that I like Vietnamese food more than Chinese because the Vietnamese food more healthier, more like different choices. And Chinese is like oily, spicy. That's one I don't like. Yeah, so again, I just share with my Chinese friends and like about what I really think. And I really opened to them about myself. I'm still Vietnamese and be here. I like or I don't like. So, but later on, because the first time when I moved to China, I didn't know any Chinese. So even my mom said, hey, why you moved to China? She didn't speak Chinese, and why? And I said, China is still something like I really like to explore it. For me, I don't want like to be just like visitor to come and leave. I want to live there, experience the culture day by day, talk to the local, and to really understand what they are doing in their daily basic. So that's why I really wanted. And when I live there, not just 1 year or 2 year, total 7.5 years in China.
Yes, what a big number.
Yeah, so the most I live there, I just feel like, yeah, I really like it. It's so much different, I think, if compared from Vietnam. The culture, I think the culture and when Chinese and Vietnamese celebrate the holiday, I think was similar, but in the mindset and perspective, maybe absolutely different from that. I really like it. And I think that is a very big opportunity, or maybe just like one milestone to have opportunity to live to stay in China long enough to understand a little bit of Chinese that I had never explored and I never known before I moved to China. And that's one of the valuable experience for my life in my life.
Mm,
So that's why I navigate for that.
yeah. And are you kind of looking, to move again out overseas and find other jobs or opportunities, or how is your life journey now?
I'm open to any opportunities. We can, because we don't know that, okay, maybe today we like here, but maybe tomorrow and after tomorrow we change out, like, okay, maybe we want to move to somewhere else to experience some new things. Yeah, it depends on, but we need to write.
Mm.
If you see that is good opportunities, and why not?
Yeah. So what's the reason behind really, it's like you have that love for experiencing a new culture, or learning from a new culture, or food, or what is underneath? What was the reason underneath that you're really looking into international experience, life and work?
Because I think when I was born in Vietnam and grew up in Vietnam, when I saw some, I mean, programs about like traveling about programs like to see different country. I think it's just something maybe come from what's inside yourself. You love to see new things and want to explore it. But it's like the world like is flat. You can travel anywhere you want. It's not like just not necessarily you have to be in one country. That's why I always said to my friends that if you have a chance, opportunity to move to a new country, just take it. Don't. I know some people will consider that, hey, I'm here, I have as a comfort life. If I move, I don't know what's going on, what's happening in the future. Of course, I know some people will think about that, but for me, I said just take it. Why not? When you take it, you create something more interesting than you have now, and you never know. It could be the very like big milestone or big turning point for your life, a new chapter. So yeah, I could say that when I moved to China, it's definitely my new chapter, because in China I met my husband, I had my sons there, so I absolutely to build my new family there, when I was in China. So yes, if I say, imagine if I said now, hey, I never been China, I didn't speak Chinese, or I would never move to China. So it not be me today, not be who I am today. So yeah, that's why I think sometimes we just for our gut as well, for our inner core, something we feel, yes, just go. So I think just take it.
And I love that graph mindset, that you're showing here. And I think it's wonderful, to be able, to say to yourself, it's okay not to know, it's okay not to know the future, but you're actually creating it. So it's a lot of courage, that I'm hearing here. So absolutely wonderful. Tell me more. So you have done so many things. What are you the most proud?
I think when I if I look back, I was so proud that I moved to UK when I was like 25. I know 25 years old in Vietnam, a lot of my colleagues have a stable job already.
Mm.
So like have a maybe just stable life. And if you study, you move to the UK, you have to leave all the job and all the like career and start over again. So I think that's why I really proud when I look back, And I thought, hey, I did it at 25 years old. And in the UK, I used to work like the part-time as a restaurant. I think I never done it before, but when I came to UK, so people really like appreciate what you did, doesn't care what you do, but it's just as long as you bring yourself to the work and you think that, okay, that is money and it's not like criminal. Yeah, it's just like not criminal. And you earn the money because you work hard on that. So I think I really appreciate that time. And from then I know that, okay, if you can do it, and you can do anything else, nothing impossible. That's why I believe on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And if you don't try, maybe you just nothing. But if you try, at least you have a 50% of something new coming up or to be successful. Yep. That's
Yeah,
why.
absolutely. Yeah, no, I love it. I absolutely love it. So, when you're saying 25 years old, oh my gosh, I was thinking of mine. Oh, mine is a long time ago. Anyway. And now you're thinking, what would you say to the 22, 25 years old of yourself? What would you tell her? Like now with the experience that you have done, that you have built a family in China, if you had the opportunity to write a letter or a message to your younger self, 20 years old, 22 years old, Kim, what would you tell her?
Okay, be confident, never give up, and just follow your gut. Do whatever you think that is right.
Awesome. Okay, and I can hear the young Kim saying, yeah, I'm doing it. And the last question that I always ask to all Mosaic Mind guests. So you know that the podcast is called Mosaic Mind. So we have a mind with plenty of inside ideas everywhere. So what do you think is the glue that holds your Mosaic Mind together?
I think it really depends on your personal character as well. But to me, it's like to keep it that always be curious. Okay, never settle in for something you don't feel right yet. Always be like adventurous, open yourself to anything. So that would be health, I think. Keep your mind okay, not like to be ready forever you are. It doesn't matter where you come from, but it's help you a lot whenever you are in your life.
That is absolutely beautiful. I think so. Really today, I'm taking some notes here. You have inspired, me, and hopefully, the people who are listening to the podcast today. Well, your main message to me is really about, making sure you have curiosity, you have beginner's mind, you open up to any opportunity, so then you can move overseas, so then you can grow and learn about yourself, and really getting out of your comfort zone, because this is where we don't grow. And you also mentioned really about the fact you can be a foreigner wherever, but the most important thing is to be able to navigate it and accept it as well. So be ready for it. Is there anything else that I have missed that I have not written?
So I think is you cover everything. You cover everything.
Yeah. So that is wonderful, because I love talking to women and hearing their stories, because they can inspire somebody else. You said that when you went to China, you met your husband and you have your family there. And I think it's fantastic, because you never know what's going to happen, right?
Yes, yes.
So really open up. And same for me, I met my husband in Hong Kong, so I didn't meet him in France. So and I think that is beautiful, just for everyone to hear it. Not that you have to go get married. It's not what I'm saying.
But
So I think
we never know that what's coming up on the
exactly.
way, the funnel. So is the future. So just one more thing I think, like maybe sometimes we just like the other day we talked about happiness, right?
Yes.
Sometimes we just like hold on too long on the sadness and we just forgot about what we really have now in the present. And I think that a past, okay, is one of the give us the experience and lesson, but really be in the present. That's what keep us like truly happiness. And at the same time, if we really think that, okay, what we have now and we keep positive, like mindset, and we just, okay, let's moving forward to the future. That is really, really helpful for the whole concept of happiness.
Well, I'm so happy that you closed that session on this session that we had together on my book about happiness.
Yes.
I'm really, really happy that you mentioned about that. So for our people who are listening to our podcast today, if you like these inspirational stories from women from Vietnam, do subscribe, to our podcast, share to your friends. We're always looking, for other inspiring women as well. And we want this story really to inspire and motivate us, to think differently. We never know. So do subscribe to our channel. So we are on podcast. The podcast is on Apple, and then Spotify and YouTube as well. And otherwise, if you want to contact Kim, contact details are underneath. So you can see in the descriptions of the podcast, so you can contact her directly. And otherwise for today, Kim, thank you very much for your time. And I'm sure that we will meet you again, because, we're doing so many things together with 𝗪𝗂𝗧 as well. And I just forgot to mention that, launched the mixed family 𝗪𝗂𝗧, sessions together. So then, we can really blend cultures with family as well. And I think it's another fantastic project that you're running. But keep in touch, and thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much, Miss. I'm really happy to talk to you today. And it's really lovely time to share all of my personal experience, just sort of kind of a gentle reminder, and really, really appreciate that. And thank you again.
Thank you.